What's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story that I've got for you guys today, an interesting Nick Walker story. So as you guys know, Nick Walker was runner-up at the 2023 Arnold Classic in Columbus, Ohio. A lot of people, and certainly Nick's fans, were expecting to see Nick win this show and win his second ever Arnold Classic title. In this lineup, Nick was the favorite going into it because he was the highest Olympia placer. He was top 3, and he was the 2021 Arnold Classic champion. So there was a lot of hype for Nick going into the show, and there was a lot of hype for Nick after seeing how Nick looked at both prejudging and the finals. His conditioning was on point. And even I had Nick winning at prejudging, and then I had Samson winning at finals. But if you go on the comment section of almost any post about the Arnold Classic, whether it be on the Olympia page, on the IFBB page, on the Arnold Classic page, on Muscle and Fitness, anywhere you see these Arnold Classic results posted, you will see a bunch of comments about Nick Walker, saying Nick Walker got robbed, etc., etc. Nick has a very large fan base, and they're being very vocal after this Arnold Classic. So every good bodybuilding show typically has some kind of controversy, and this was one of those shows. So Nick even had to put out a statement on his Instagram story where he says, "I just want to give a huge thank you to all my supporters. You guys are seriously the best, but let's keep it more respectful. We do not disrespect judges or other competitors. Samson Dauda brought the noise, but again, thank you guys for defending me. We will be back even better, I promise that." So that was, I think, a direct response to the comments that pretty much everybody can see everywhere. Like I said, any bodybuilding page where somebody is posting or talking about the results of the Arnold Classic, that seems to be the general comment thread, is that Nick deserved to win, Nick was robbed, etc., etc. But that's why I say this was such a good show, because I'm not mad one bit at Samson winning. I think that top 3 was so good. Samson Dauda, Andrew Jack, and Nick Walker. If either one of those 3 guys had won, I would not have been surprised, and I would not have been mad. And I do think there's an argument to be made that Nick could have won the show, but I do think Samson Dauda deserved to win at the end of this. Because while Nick was ultra conditioned, he was more conditioned than he was at the Olympia. He was flatter. He did sacrifice some size. You could see it from the front, especially in his quads. And he sacrificed some of that fullness that he had at the Olympia. So while I do think he was much more conditioned than he was at the Olympia, and I think the most conditioned guy on this stage, I think the fullness that he lost was enough that it put him behind Samson here. I think Samson improved dramatically from the Olympia enough to put him ahead of these other guys. But honestly, I do think if Nick were just a tad bit fuller, he would not have lost this show. I believe that 100%. I think if Nick were closer to the Olympia level of fullness, he wouldn't have won this show. And I think if he looked the same as he looked at the Olympia, even with Samson's improvements, I think Nick would have won. So I do think it was really close, and I do think you could have made a case for Nick. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Was Nick Walker robbed? Do you think Samson rightfully deserved to win the show? Now, next up in the news, in the same vein as that first story, upset fans and controversies. There seem to be no fans more upset than the fans of Big Ramy after this weekend's Arnold Classic. There's a lot of photos and pictures of Ramy coming out where he actually looks really impressive. He does look significantly improved in a lot of these photos than he looked at the Olympia. And Ramy's fans are not happy about his placing. He was able to take 4th here, which is still an improvement over the Olympia. He placed 5th there, 4th here. Technically, he's moving up. And I want to be clear here. I do think Ramy improved. I do think the margin of improvement was significant. I think he looked fuller here, tighter here. Legs looked better. The glutes didn't have the bumps that they had at the Olympia. But I think that back and that nerve damage, that atrophy in the lats was still noticeable. And I still don't think he was as detailed as he used to be. He used to be sharper. He used to be more detailed. His waist used to be tighter. And I still don't think we saw that here. Now, I'm going to play you a clip from one of Ramy's friends. So put the volume on, listen to this commentary on this clip. And essentially what this is commentary over a picture that the Mr. Olympia posted after the Arnold Classic results came out, showing only Samson Dauda, Andrew Jack, Nick Walker, and Sean Clarita, and Ramy was cropped out of that picture. Whether it was intentional or not, that was something that really got a lot of Ramy's fans talking, because this was after the Arnold. After Ramy placed 4th, the Olympia posted a picture of 4 bodybuilders from the Arnold at those finals, excluding Ramy. And then shortly after that, Ramy did repost a fan that posted a picture on their story of Ramy, some of these recent pictures shown of Ramy from the Arnold, with the question, 4th, question mark. So in Hani's video, he kind of talks about how the fans are very kind of upset, Ramy's fans, with how he's been treated, or appears to have been treated. And I almost thought that was going to happen here at the Arnold Classic, but I don't think that is what happened, because I think at prejudging, Ramy was immediately moved to the outside of that group, and I thought, here we go again. This is the same thing they did to him at the Olympia. But then I thought at finals, they gave Ramy a really fair shake. They really put him in the mix. They put him in that top 4 call-out. They really made him, make those other guys earn the spots ahead of him. They compared him really hard, and I think he got a fair shake. But this is what Ramy's friend, Hani Pink, had to say about how the fans view Ramy's treatment by the organization as a whole and by some of the other powers that be within the IFBB, including the Olympia and the Arnold. And this is Hani Pink, not Hani Rambod. Just don't confuse the two.
Hey, what's up everyone? When I see this picture on Mr. Olympia page and I see those incredible 4, we'll think that those are the top 4. But the truth, it's way far from that. And anyone, if see the picture like that, they were gonna think that those are the top 4, which is not the reality. Ramy was placed 4th. In the Middle East, all the fans of bodybuilding community, they are asking what's going on about Big Ramy. Why Mr. Olympia trying to delete Ramy? Why Mr. Olympia trying to do some stuff never happened in history of bodybuilding with the guy having the title for 2 years in a row? In Olympia 22, they put him aside and he never come to the middle to compete with the others. And in Arnold this year 23, the first call out, he came in a center, immediately they move him to the right of the stage. Again, can we understand what's going on and until when this will gonna be happening? Because the Middle East fuming so much.
So, look, a lot of people have this conspiracy theory that with Big Ramy, the situation is because he blew off the Pittsburgh Pro Guest Posing, which is hosted by the Manions. It's like their big show. This is his punishment, is they're kind of casting him out. I don't believe that conspiracy theory. I will say at the Olympia, I thought the judging was weird. I thought it was weird how they didn't really give Ramy a chance to fight and defend his title. If Ramy was the standard from the year before he was Mr. Olympia, they should be comparing everybody against him because he is the standard, not moving him immediately to the outside and letting everybody else immediately battle in the middle for the win. Because that's what they did at the Olympia. It really is. No matter how good or bad Ramy may have looked, or how good or bad the judges thought Ramy looked, he still was the standard that they said last year, your physique is the best in the world. So I think they should have at least verified that he did look as good or as bad as they thought by comparing other people around him in the middle, because he was the returning defending Mr. Olympia. I thought it was weird that they moved him immediately to the outside. I don't think the reason was the Pittsburgh Pro Guest Posing. I really don't. Could there be a political reason? I think possibly yes. And at the Arnold Classic, I almost thought it was going to happen again. Like I said, at prejudging, they moved him to the outside pretty quickly. And they didn't have him in the final 3 grouping at prejudging, but I thought at finals they gave him a pretty fair comparison. And I am glad they placed him ahead of Clarita, because if they had put Clarita ahead of him at over 100 pounds lighter than him, then I would possibly be convinced that maybe someone doesn't like Big Ramy. Now, I've got to admit, I thought the Olympia post was weird too, but I'm more inclined to believe it was just a stupid oversight by someone who's running their social media account than it was an intentional slight at Big Ramy. I think probably whoever posted it just wasn't thinking, cropped it weird, threw it up there quickly to get it up there in a timely fashion right after finals wrapped up, and probably wasn't thinking too much about it. I think that scenario is more likely than they said, hey, screw Big Ramy, we're going to cut him out of this picture. I really don't think that was what happened here. And I also think Ramy can come back. I'm convinced by what I saw here that Ramy has proven in a short amount of time, just a couple of months between the Olympia and now, he could improve. He did what he wanted to do. He looked better here. I think he looked significantly better. He looked tighter. He looked fuller, like I said. And I think the fact that he showed that, even though he didn't win, means he has a shot at coming back much, much better at the Olympia. What he's doing is working. His approach, his new approach, is working. And it has worked in a short amount of time. What can he do with the next 8 months or so? If I were Ramy, I would not be too discouraged with what happened here. I would not overthink some of these posts. I would not overthink the result. I think that the important part is Ramy looked better, Ramy looked improved, and his placing went up a placing higher. Even though it's not the Olympia, it's the Arnold, he did place higher here than he placed at the Olympia. That's important. But let me know what you guys think about the big Ramy situation in the comments down below. Now, the final story that I have for you guys today, a collaboration between Ramon Dino and Chris Bumstead at the Mr. Olympia headquarters. So they're basically doing a training video together. That's really all this was. But I thought it was interesting, and I think this goes to show why Chris is such a good ambassador for Classic Physique, because it's not just Ramon you see him do this with. You saw him do this with Outrage. You see him do this with Breon. His other competitors and his other rivals in the sport, he has no problem collabing with them and doing work together, you know, off stage. And even in a scenario like this, because you got to think about, if you're Chris, he's in the off season now. Ramon just literally came off stage winning the Arnold Classic. Obviously, Ramon is going to look a lot better in these videos than Chris, and Chris still did it. I guarantee there's a lot of guys in bodybuilding, classic physique, whatever, that have an intense rivalry, one and two at the Olympia or 1 and 2 at some other major show, that would not do this. If the guy that was chasing them right on their heels, number 2, just came off winning a major show, and they were in the offseason. So I think Chris needs to be commended for this, because I do think it put him at a disadvantage here. Ramon literally just stepped off stage from winning the Arnold, and Chris is, you know, right in the middle of enjoying his Olympia victory, which, by the way, I think Ramon crushed it at. I think I'm hearing he's still having trouble with this weight limit, but I do think he looks slightly better than he looked at the Olympia. Obviously, he did enough to win. I'm really impressed by Ramon, and I think maybe in a year or two he will really be pushing Chris. But I think this weight restriction thing is something that is holding him back a little bit. Will the weight caps change in the next year or two? I guess could be another question. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Thank you guys for watching. As always, make sure you like and subscribe. And as always, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at Nick Strength Power. My Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power. My secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel. And consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.